Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No.
I'm Dr. Reid.
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little...
How is your
Oh, it's bliss.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir.
Can I do anything for you?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills.
Who is treating?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me.
You don't seem...
My face hurt so much more when I smiled.
Where were you stationed, sir?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Fear and disgust on every...
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reid, is it? Oh, sorry, I must have...
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made...
You remained perfectly nice and polite.
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief.
How did you end up in William...
I had received alarming news about his recent death.
Why did he...
William was an alcoholic. His addiction...
You dared to enter this awful place alone.
I'm just a man trying to help his...
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot...
Who leads the...
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Dooth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you? Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always there.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise?
Who should I have...
Not really. Most men...
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton?
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I tried to...
Are you a priest?
Not at all, Doctor.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were...
Have you made friends?
Not really. But I recognize Miss Harriet Jones.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke?
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be...
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. Good evening, Doctor.
Dr. Reid. I am THOREAU Strickland.
Please, could you tell me...
I'm a great admirer of your work.
What made you choose to...
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work.
It's always a pleasure to share science.
This epidemic may be...
I'd rather not talk... As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but
What can you tell me?
Well, it has always been an honor to work.
You seem quite optimistic.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test. A test.
Questions remain about our...
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work.
Do you need help with it?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a
Do you want me to play the error?
Oh, no, Dr. Reid. But if you went...
I see. Well, give me... Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
What can I do?
Thank you, Nurse.
I'm all right. Don't wait.
Good evening.
No, I don't want to talk.
I suppose that this pain is the...
Yes.
Could you at least tell...
Mortimer.
Tell me
I
about
don't want to.
how painful...
So painful.
I'll let you...
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam.
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid.
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reid? I've had...
What can you...
Not much to say.
Are you...
Yes. Thank you.
May I ask if you have an...
I'm a teacher by profession.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social...
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without...
I share your concern, Mrs.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reid. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other...
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick. Good evening, sir.
I don't know if a third of...
I see.
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me blood...
Tell me,
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed.
I was more curious about what you were doing.
I'm a carpenter. And a good one, too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reid.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured.
I won't lie to you.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reid? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem...
In other circumstances, you would be right. Tell me about the doctors who are...
Strickland and ACKROYD. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr.
Reid? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival.
Does my arrival inconvenience you?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swans's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals.
Since you're
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness.
carelessness,
We're here to save lives.
I don't intend to...
Modern medical methods were created through audacity.
If you have a
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it...
Oh, but
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to do?
that is one point we could agree on.
Tell me, Waverley, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland...
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect...
Why do you...
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven...
I really hope you're right about this, Dr. Ackroyd. I'm trusting your judgment on this.
I'm not the kind of man who...
I don't know what you've heard about me, but
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reid, but
And what exactly?
I served in the war just like you.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit.
This is ridiculous.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people.
It seems you have...
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially...
A colleague?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh CHADANA. Now, I'm just Mr. CHADANA. Pawnbroker.
What do you mean? You used to be a doctor?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead.
Are you afraid, or...
Why should I? These bodies...
An interesting...
Sir, as a medic during the war...
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked...
Have we met?
I don't think so.
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was...
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main war...
Why do you...
Because these poor fellows have no names.
Why close the...
It was for sanitary reasons.
A pawn...
Yes, sir. All kind of...
Who comes here to trade with you?
I'm very cautious, sir.
What kind...
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to...
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or...
Quite depressing, wouldn't you?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity.
So you're...
No.
You're a wise man.
No, Dr. Reid. I am a...